Geek Out! Hey, welcome to another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
And this week, we always have an interview. Why do I even say we have an interview this week?
Guess what? Because every once in a while we don't.
Yeah, it hasn't been since like January, but yes, you're correct.
Yeah, you should sound more surprised when we don't have an interview.
Yeah, because this isn't one of those occasions.
No.
Come on, Sam. We've been doing this for like 2 years.
Almost
Some
3.
change, yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get it together, how do people expect me to get it together?
Well, Andrew Aydin comes on, and he co-wrote March with Congressman John Lewis, the Eisner-winning March.
Yes.
Though we determined that we weren't at the same Eisner Award ceremony.
Were we a year early or a year late? I can't remember.
It's in the interview.
It's in the view. Check it out.
Yeah, he's here to promote. He writes the middle installment of the Bitch Planet triple feature. Let me see the Without and Within. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That short story, and that's out in comic book stores everywhere today, and out in Comixology if you prefer to go digital or that sort of thing. So yeah, let's let him talk about it and all that. And joining us this week, we have just to make sure I got my and you can cuss on this thing if you want to, but not that this will make the final cut. Well, it could, but it's Aydin, right? Aydin. Glad I asked. All right.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. 3, 2. And joining us this week, we have Andrew Aydin. He's the one of the contributors to the Bitch Planet triple feature. He does the middle installment, which is kind of a. It's not quite courtroom, but it takes place like on the legislative floor, and it's really, I don't know. We'll get into it. It's the more I read Bitch Planet and the more I read the news, I'm like, my God, But and he also co-wrote March with Congressman John Lewis, which to all sorts of critical acclaim. And if you haven't picked that book up, or that trilogy up, pick it up immediately because that's a fantastic, heartwarming series. Andrew, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for letting me be with you guys. It's an honor.
So let's get the big question out of the way first. How did you become part of this anthology?
Well, Kelly Sue DeConnick had been one of those people that I was fortunate enough to meet sort of on the March road. It's actually, we met at Dragon Con. She got the congressman to do a duck face selfie. And so we just kept in touch after that, and I told her I was looking to do some sort of small projects, not really ready to sink my teeth into something big, but just to get better. And I told her what a fan of Bitch Planet I was, because that's been something I'd loved since it first came out, and she let me take a crack at it, and it was just a lot of fun.
What was it like going from? I mean, March covers the life of the congressman, whereas Bitch Planet is set in ostensibly a fictional world. I guess there's like sci-fi stuff, so it's still fiction, right?
Right.
But yeah, what was it like jumping into full-on fiction with this one?
I think this is only the second piece of fiction I've ever published. So give me a break. Just bear with me. How's that? I'm learning. It was. On the one hand, it's like a delight to sort of be in a world where you can take the gloves off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I think, in the sort of brainstorming process, it kept coming back to things that I was seeing in my day-to-day life on the Hill,
Sure.
And you're sort of like, oh, well, how do I add something to this universe, and what sort of unique angle can I put in? And so it was sort of why we ended up in the legislature, because it was actually Kelly Sue had asked me to help sort of spitball ideas too for the government of Bitch Planet, like how it would work. And at one point I put together a document for her, just about how actually a satirical, fictional, but not too unreal government would function.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the place where my ideas came from, trying to add into that world building part.
Now, you had mentioned like what you had seen on the Hill and stuff. For our listeners at home, you have a background as being a congressional aide and all that. is there kind of a, and obviously you don't have to go into specifics, but is there kind of a bro-y quid pro quo kind of subculture on, and we're based out of right out of DC too, so we certainly see it with the contracting elements, but is there kind of a bro-y culture on the Hill?
I think you can find just about any kind of culture on the Hill. Some of them are more pervasive than others. And, there are definitely bros that got elected.
I saw them wheel in the Natty Light a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, I'll say that,
I thought that went out of style in college.
Yeah.
But
that'll never die.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Steel Reserve, right?
at least they didn't start playing beer pong on the front lawn.
Flip cup.
Yeah.
I bet.
Right.
Yeah. I bet the speaker's a champion at that. Let's not get too political, right? So you mentioned that you had, kind of wanted to dip your toes in the kind of the wide world of fictional comics and that sort of thing, or just greater comic writing in general. What is it? What was your kind of gateway into comics as, say, a fan, or what makes you want to write? Kind of continue to add to that ever expanding creative tapestry.
Well, I started reading comics when I was, 5 or 6, and I started with my uncle's comics. He had left them at my grandmother's house when he went to college, and never came back and got them. And so when my mom would send me up to my grandmother's house during the summer, I would read them, and I got really into them. And it was actually, the more I think about it, a little extravagant, because it was there was an X-Men #1 in there, and these are the copies I was reading when I was a little kid. But we didn't know any better, and I loved them. I really just fell in love. So finally, my grandmother would take me to the comic book store. She bought my first comic for me at a Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, shit.
Off the spinner rack in Western North Carolina.
I
I think it was Uncanny X-Men 317 with the lenticular variant cover.
Nice.
And
the Piggly Wiggly exclusive.
Right? Yeah. I came of age in the Chromium age, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
But, and then I from there, it was sort of I started reading and collecting, and we go to comic shops, and then finally, I guess when I was 12 or 13, I went to my first Comic-Con. And at that point, you sort of plug into that culture. It becomes a part of you. And so, ebb and flow as you got older, but really when I was in high school, my senior year in particular, I would go to the shop every Wednesday. I loved all the different titles. My buddy and I would always, who went to the shop with me, we would always talk, oh man, someday, we could write comics. We could do this, like kids. And, then lo and behold, you kind of grow up and then do March, and you're sort of well, why don't I try and do some of these, write a few comics? I don't have the same pressures, I think, that some creators do because of March. It gives me the ability to, really, you're writing for Bitch Planet and it's your second published piece, that's just nuts, right? That's, I got really lucky, and I'm really grateful for that. And, it was just sort of a process of being a fan and wanting to do stuff that I would enjoy. And I think the only other thing I wrote was X-Files, right? So that sort of gives you an idea of where I was coming from.
Sure, yeah, the kind of government conspiracy kind of thing. But
right, one of my friends was making fun of me. He said, "You only write comics about people in suits."
Just think about it, Andrew. All those years of reading the X-Men taking on Onslaught was preparing you for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was it? Was it Kelly Sue that recommended Joanna to do the art on your short?
Yeah, that was I'd never met Joanna, and it was actually I still haven't, to be totally honest. But she's just been lovely to work with. She's got an incredible line work, and just she's spectacular.
It's kind of almost like a manga thing going on with,
I like
with
that.
This one.
Yeah. No, she's fabulous, and just for something like what I'm trying to do too, the expressions on their face kind of come into play a little bit more, and she just did great work on that.
Well, without getting my nose too brown, as it is wont to do, March is one of the most important books on the stands in recent years, and Bitch Planet I would contend is certainly one of the most topical books that Image Comics is putting out in general. So, you know, like you were saying, top marks for, I mean, out the gate. And even, I mean, come on, we're all X-Files fans. Jake, are you an X-Files fan?
I watched the finale.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the first, and it's the only episode I've ever seen, and I decided to watch the finale when it aired, and I was so confused. I don't know why. I remember sitting in the basement. Yeah, and I was just lost.
So for me, when I was a kid, you know, my mom worked, and like, you know, she got home late most nights. But the thing that we would do was every Friday night, she would get home before X-Files, because X-Files came on at 9 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. So we would order a pizza and watch X-Files. And that was our thing for like 3 or 4 years. Like, that was the only like guaranteed time we had together during any given week, just with all this sort of stuff going on. And so that was like a deep part. And my mom bought me like that Topps Comics X-Files #1 when I was like 12 as a birthday present. So it was like a big part of it for us. And so that was kind of why I wanted to do that. Like right off the bat, I was chomping for that. I wanted to do it. I wish I'd had a little more time to work, because it was all happening right around the time we were finishing book 3. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to take a weekend off and just work on that for 48 hours straight, and that's going to be that. But, you know, it's like you take your opportunities when you can get them, because, you know, who knows when it's going to come around again.
Well, you know, as a bit of a logistical aside, I know that season 11, X-Files season 11, the comic is ending soon. So who knows, man? They might be on the lookout for a new writer. We were just talking to Joe Harris earlier on the show, and he's doing season 11. He's like, yeah, you know, we were originally slotted for 25 issues, but then they, you know, renewed for another revival season. I was like, all right, man.
You know, Joe's a friend, and I think he did really incredible work on that. And I was just glad I got to contribute during his run, because, I mean, he held that post for like 4.5 years, and he just did some really cool stuff with it. But I don't think I'm ready for another full-time job. I've still got my day job.
Just balance it out. One title. You know, Charles Soule somehow was an immigration lawyer full-time in New York City and wrote like 4 fucking books.
And he was in a band.
Which is actually pretty good, because I saw him play at the Image Party at New York Comic Con. I was just like, crazy. My good God.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't working on another book. No, that's not crazy.
So that begs the question, Andrew. Can you share what you're currently working on?
I can't. It's not public yet. But I've spent the last... Like, I'm literally sitting amongst all of the documents and detritus and notes and everything, and my head's been in it now for several days. We're in recess this week, so I've been working from home and then working on this project, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about it soon. I think maybe after San Diego.
Are you going to be at San Diego?
Oh yeah, I'm a guest, man. Can you believe it?
Whoa,
that's awesome.
I know.
Shoot, we're just like working the booth. Yeah, we help out with. I actually write for the Image Comics magazine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Image Plus, which just at the time of this recording just put out issue 14 with 2 columns by myself. But the
hey, congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, we're always at the Image booth so if you swing by, the Image booth, or if you have a signing, there's a good chance that we'll run into each other. And I'm on a panel at AwesomeCon. I guess the week this comes out. But let's stop talking about me.
I'll get AwesomeCon. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you should come by. I should have like a little table or something.
Oh, are you gonna be by like Joe and Megan?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right, right on. Yeah, man. All right. Here's a question, Andrew, that we ask everybody that comes on the show.
Uh-huh.
What are you currently geeking out over?
So they did a Grand Admiral Thrawn Lego.
Oh.
That's been my latest desk obsession. I loved Thrawn in the old Timothy Zahn era and
Dark Empire, sure.
Yeah, back when we were really hungry for any sort of extra Star Wars material, it was Timothy Zahn and Aaron Alston and all that. But I really, for whatever reason, just love Thrawn. So anyway, they just came out with his Lego. So I got his Lego. And
kind of a holdover from those halcyon days before the prequel trilogy happened.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, no. And I don't know. Sometimes I've been playing Battlefront as like a stress reliever.
As in like Star Wars Battlefront, or as in like OG, like not like TIE Fighters Battlefront?
Star Wars Battlefront, yeah.
Right on,
Nice.
right on. Are you a PS3 or PS4? Sorry, I'm a generation behind. PS4 kid or an Xbox One kid?
Right now I'm an Xbox kid. I had a PlayStation, it broke, and then I sort of switch each cycle so I can like try out the different ones, you know? So it'll be like when I get a new one, I'll get a PlayStation, and then when I've had a PlayStation, I'll get an Xbox next time.
The
I don't
grass
know.
is always
I
greener.
don't game enough to really be diehard about it.
That's like the first thing that's on my chopping block for like free time. Like between my day job, between writing for Image, between the show, like the first thing I give up is video games. And it kind of bums me out because like I was, you know, hardcore like in the Super Nintendo when that came out in the early 90s and, you know, Nintendo 64 and all that. And then it just kind of, as I got older, that was the first thing I kind of dropped off.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. I remember we used to do Counter-Strike LAN parties in college. Not LAN, really. It would just be that like we finally got a high-speed connection enough, and we would all get in the same server. And it'd be like 2 dorm rooms versus each other, which was like before like Halo multiplayer really got big. That was our thing. Anyway, I'm dating myself.
Well,
It's all right. I remember doing that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
You're amongst peers.
yeah. You're in this is a safe place. You're in a safe place. Have you enjoyed the reintroduction of Thrawn? I don't know if you've watched like Rebels at all.
Oh, I haven't gotten to watch Rebels yet. I'm actually. It's one of those shows that like I want to get to watch it, and I hardly get to watch anything right now.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's not on Netflix, unlike Clone Wars.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's probably why I haven't even seen it. Where is it?
I don't know. It's just floating around. I guess it makes it's.
Dude, Disney better send us a check for all of this. I'm just-
I think it's. I think you can only get it on like Disney XD on
Yeah,
demand,
Yeah.
which I can get through like FiOS since I have FiOS. But it's still only like the 5 most recent episodes.
Oh really?
I think is their deal.
That's a
So I'm
bummer.
like beat.
Yeah, you would think with the Clone Wars on Netflix and not leaving, it was gonna leave, but it's still on there. That you would think they would put Rebels up.
And Disney was supposed to have struck that deal with Netflix to
Yeah.
have them be their predominant digital.
Yeah, because they just added like Doctor
Thing.
Strange and Civil Wars.
But
on
I think
there.
they're doing it in like very staggered staggered segments.
So there you have it.
all right. Well,
Not that I know anything about the inner workings of the mouse.
Yeah.
well, maybe when it gets to Netflix, I'll be ready.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. It's a whole like.
There's always something
yeah.
to watch.
Yeah. So that's cool though. You're gonna be a guest at San Diego Comic-Con. That is some really
Oh, right.
cool shit.
The dream fulfilled right there.
Well, I think the dream is fulfilled if you get to, you know, write a hollow foiled cover or lenticular covered like Uncanny X-Men issue.
Yeah.
All right.
Are there
I gotta-
Piggly
gotta
Wigglies
go
left?
get the ring for that.
There's Piggly Wigglies
Are there
left.
Yeah.
Piggly Wigglies left?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one in a long time, so that like blew my mind when you said that. That's like there's a Books a Million where my sister went to college at James Madison.
James Mason.
Yeah, James
Yeah.
Mason.
It's named
James
after the
Mason.
bad guy
Yeah.
from North by Northwest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very small college. No, but
Teach you how to
JMU.
fly a plane over a guy.
Yeah, JMU, and I there's a Books a Million there, and I was like, they have Books a Million still?
There's one in Potomac Mills.
Oh shit. Well, okay.
See, when you're trying to describe Western North Carolina, and you say you bought anything at the Piggly Wiggly, it just sets the scene perfectly.
True that.
This kind of period that's like stuck in like Ernest era, like 80s, 90s Americana.
You can like hear the elevator music sort of playing, the odd lighting. Like you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They still have just stacks of Swiss Miss, like always on display. Cheerwine too, because it's North Carolina. Tons of Cheerwine.
Yes. Oh, clearly we're dealing with locals here.
Yeah. Well, I just came
Been
out
there
of
once or twice.
once or twice. I just got out of Charlotte a couple weekends ago, so that was pretty good. Which I'm aware isn't like Western North Carolina, but it's like down there. But yeah,
Yeah.
so you know, in terms
Could you imagine if you saw Bitch Planet on the spinner rack at a Piggly Wiggly in Western North? I mean, I would pay money to actually just sit in a lawn chair somewhere in the vicinity and watch people's reaction if they saw a full spinner rack of Bitch Planets
My
in
word.
Yeah.
any grocery store in Western North Carolina. I mean,
My
it would just
word.
be adorable.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman walk up to me. I think it was at New York Comic Con, I think this past year, and one of the displayed comics was Bitch Planet, and I'm sitting there like drinking like a coconut water behind one of the signing tables or whatever, and he's just like, Bitch Planet, and I'm just like, yeah, man, great book, check it out. First trade's right over there.
Also, check out Sex Criminals.
Yeah, any milk-fed production book.
They're actually a couple. Sex Criminals is with Bitch Planet. You know, they married and had children in Portland.
Yeah.
Makes sense to everybody. No, but that's what
I'd
I
read
like.
it.
That's kind of what I love about it, right? It's actually really funny. Like, some of my colleagues will be like, "Oh, are you working on anything else?" You know, and I'll be like, "Well, I've got this story in Bitch Planet coming out in June," and like, there's this pause, right? Like, as you see one of the other guy, like, is he just a terrible misogynist, or is he talking about something I should know about and don't? I mean, it's just, so you have to like pause and be like, it's sort of a grindhouse feminist comic book. Don't worry about it. I didn't say anything bad, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, and like move right on.
I want to say, like, you know, your story is very good, but I feel like it's, and I mean this as a compliment, of course, and I know this is making it sound worse as I'm trying to justify this more and more.
and digging and digging.
Yeah, keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you. I feel like your story is like the most heartbreaking of the three, because it's like this.
I don't write things that don't make people cry. That's kind of like the only thing I've done so far.
Well, I mean,
but that's the thing that's so sad about it, right? Is it like, this is not a situation that's any different because it's in Bitch Planet than if it's in the real world. It's just what would happen in Bitch Planet, and it reflects on us that like we are neither appalled nor surprised that could happen in real life.
yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. I mean, just this kind
But
of like
that's how you're supposed to be, you know. Like if you're gonna do it, you got to go for the jugular. So if that's what you're feeling out of this, man, that makes me feel like I did a good job because, you know, Kelly Sue and Val, like they bring such game to their comic. I mean, it's so good that like I felt like, for me, especially as a male contributor, like if I'm gonna write a story, it has to be about something that makes us all like walk away from it looking at our own relationships and the environments that we create differently.
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of like this, especially in comparison to the other stories in the anthology and the main series as a whole. It's almost like you've got this silent struggle, but unfortunately all too real struggle within those pages.
Yeah, it was also interesting to sort of imagine the media landscape in that world. That was one of the things that Lauren Sankovic from Sankovic, I always say it wrong. I hope she doesn't listen and make fun of me. But she's amazing as an editor, and one of the things that she kept bringing up was like that the media would be in the same place, but also sort of anonymized. Like, you know how we have, like, I mean, have you seen this? They have, like, little Segway Skype stands in the White House press corps, right? Like, you've seen these things? Like, we were just taking it a step beyond that and making them just, like, flying camera lights, right? Which is basically what they're about to become. And it's just going to sort of become speaking to these devices as opposed to speaking to people.
Yeah, I'm sure Sean Spicer would love that, but the try not to get
Right? He can't give him side-eye.
Yeah. Yeah, he can't get angry at them when they roll their eyes unless he knows. He'll just know. He'll know.
He'll just put a napkin
Turn
over
off
them.
the screen.
Like, you can't see anymore.
Yeah. He'll just hide in the bushes again. Try not to get political, Sam. I'm slapping myself. Try not to. I'm slapping my own hands. But the right. But whereas like when I cry reading March, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, you know, we had Connolly on who does the third story in the anthology, and I kind of choked up talking about Field of Dreams of all things, because that's where that one kind of went.
Okay.
Favorite film of all time. What's your favorite film of all time, Andrew?
I think you've got to. There's two different things. There's the movies that I can watch all the time that are great movies, right? And then like the movies that I watched that hold a special place in my heart that I will still watch and adore because of the feelings I had when I watched them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like any movie is a reflection on ourselves at that point, right? And so it's like, this is so bad. Like I love Home Alone because of when I watched it when I was a kid and like the emotions about Christmas and also my love of Christmas.
Sure.
But at the same time, like the movies that I will watch over and over again that I appreciate for their craft, especially the intricacies of writing, are things like Wonder Boys, which was based on the Michael Chabon book.
Sure.
I love The Big Short. That was really well done.
That was fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, and then this is a downer movie, but an amazing film, Spotlight. I really thought Spotlight was incredible.
That was interesting because Tom McCarthy had directed The Cobbler with Adam Sandler at the beginning of the year, which is like one of the worst movies of, what was that, 2015? And then he goes and directs, at the end of the year, Spotlight comes out with like probably one of the best ensemble casts in recent memory.
Yeah.
And which is like, wins Best Picture. So he goes from both ends of the quality spectrum within like 12 months.
Get you a man who can do both.
But when I choke up reading March, it's like whenever you get these just the horrific stuff that the congressman goes through, when he's doing the March to Selma, or he's he's part of the movement, and you get the moments where it flashes forward, and he meets the president, he meets President Obama, and Obama leaves him the signed napkins, just like, we're all following you, John. And it's just like, oh my God, it comes from a place of victory there, like this idea that the fight is always worth it.
Yeah, well, and March, that whole bit has a different context now.
Everything does, yeah. Like the fight never ends.
Right, and I remember us having the debates early on about the connotations of framing March around the inauguration of Barack Obama. But March was sort of born from the inauguration of Barack Obama in a weird way. Like that was just 6 months after we'd even had the idea and all this sort of stuff. And the idea then that there would be a generation of young people who would grow up never having lived in a world without a Barack Obama having been president. And never did we really imagine that it would also be a reminder that, the next one's going to be kind of tough, but this is what you're holding on to, And I think it puts in, I don't know. I think it helps remind us why we keep working too.
Yeah, and I think Bitch Planet does as well, because just the idea of non-compliance becoming a rallying cry for the feminist movement. I think, like I said, it's one of the most topical, important books on the stands. You really, you sell yourself short saying that you lucked out. It really is a testament to what you've done so far. I mean, X-Files included too, I'm sure, but because we can't get enough, Mitch Pileggi in our lives.
I know, right? I didn't even get a chance to have a Skinner cameo. I was really sad about that.
I mean, again,
he was in the first draft. They were like, "You got to tighten it up." I was like, "Okay."
You could always bring back the lone gunman,
right? No, but the one thing that I didn't get to play with in Bitch Planet that I wanted to was spaceships. Like they've got ships, right? Like the whole space part of it, I didn't get to play with, and that's my regret. I want to do space at some point, but this was actually, it's funny. This story was written the beginning of 2016, like January 2016.
Oh, before all the election nonsense.
Yeah, which, now you read it and you're sort of like, oh yeah, election, like, oh, I get it, it's topical. But it was written well before any of this ever happened, and you're sort of, it's made me really wonder about, because the X-Files episode issue made fun of the alt-right.
Mm-hmm.
and I got mean tweets about that, and it was awesome.
I think we should all aspire to that, really.
Right. But it made me really start to reflect on like where my mind was before the election, and then like I wonder if subconsciously some of those things were being noticed, and that we might not consciously pick up on them, but when we look back at the art, the writing, or something like that, like we see the signs that we couldn't necessarily see with our conscious selves. I don't know.
Well, I think art uses, a different part of your mind to kind of build off that point. I think it does kind of build it, talking to Scott Snyder about all of his horror stories, even the most outlandish horror stories that Scott writes, come from, even his Batman stuff comes from a very personal place. Zero Year was about his fears of living in the big city. It's about Bruce taking back his life in the big city. The Death of the Family with the Joker was about the fear of having somebody come after your loved ones, because he's a family man himself. And I think on some level, when you're exercising those creative muscles, you're writing from your deepest hopes and by extension your deepest fears. So maybe that's where that came from.
So I wrote a story about misogyny and a story about being afraid of the alt-right, and we elected an alt-right misogynist.
Nostradamus here.
What's 0 for 2, man?
Yeah. Andrew, what happens next, please?
See, that's why you haven't written a space one yet, because we're never going back to space.
We're going to the sun, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I saw that NASA press release.
Yes, it is hot.
Yeah. Survey says.
It's hot here, too.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because we've kind of danced around this. Star Trek or Star Wars?
So Star Wars for me. My mother was a Trekkie, and we used to watch the old original Gene Roddenberry episodes, and then sort of Star Wars became like my thing. And
was that your like sign of rebellion?
Every line is defined.
Yeah.
And and then the prequels were coming out right around the time I was like 16. And despite that, it did not diminish my love of Star Wars. And it was the toys too. I worked in a toy store in high school, and like, man, I love me some Star Wars toys.
I mean, they're still like you noticed earlier. They're still pumping them. I've become a bit of a born again Star Wars fan, because I kept it to the movies and I kept it to the video games, because there are no good Star Trek video games, as much as it pains me to say that out loud.
It would be an awesome like Star Trek MMO or like online community something, where you could build like colonies and then trade and then like have your own ship, and somebody should do that. Well,
there's Star Trek Online where every player is the commander of their own starship, and then you can either be Federation, Dominion, or Klingon or Romulan, which is kind of cool. I guess some people can be Ferengi, but I don't know who the hell would want to be Ferengi.
There's some metaphor in that about everybody wanting to be a starship captain. Somebody's got to be a red shirt.
Yeah.
That's the depressing fact of life, really, as I look. Everybody wants to be number one. Everybody wants to write Uncanny X-Men, Cullen Bunn, but only some of us can. Cullen was actually. Have you ever hung out with Cullen? Because he's from North Carolina too. So is Jason Latour. We've had both those guys on the show.
So I met Jason at San Diego, but like super super briefly. He said he goes to Dragon Con still. That's like my home show.
You don't do Heroes Con?
Was that?
You don't do Heroes Con in Charlotte?
I've never done it before. No. I'm only doing 3 shows this year because I'm working on stuff. I can't be off the road that much.
Sure.
I'm doing Awesome Con, San Diego, and Dragon Con. That's it. Maybe SPX. I don't know.
No,
but that's because I can drive there.
Well, I'll see you at Dragon Con, because I'm going this year.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, Dragon Con is it's an institution. Yeah. And, I've been going since it was, population would have been in like 20,000, I guess, when I first started. It was like back when like the comic book companies actually used to still go to Dragon Con.
Yeah. This is actually going to be my first one.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, bring plenty of fluids. That's my advice.
I mean, I've been to other cons before, but this is my first Dragon Con.
So this one will be a little bit different because it's like a string of hotels taking over several city blocks.
Ah.
So it's not like you go to a convention center and then you come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you go to the hotels and in the basement or in the just big room or like in the dealer's hall or like it's wild. You'll have a good time, man. I think you should be very excited.
It's like Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Or South by Southwest.
Yeah. With more cosplay.
Yeah. I remember I was at South by Southwest this year, and they had to promote Handmaid's Tale, they had a bunch of people dressed up as like just silently walking through Austin, and I was just like, my God, this is creepy.
Oh my God.
Oh man, how topical is that fucking thing now too?
Everything's topical now.
Everything's even Riverdale.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the most topical show on the planet.
Sexy Archie.
Yeah. Six-pack Archie and bummed out Jughead.
Well, yeah. So, Andrew, while we got you on, is there anything else you want to plug or geek out over before we sign off?
No, I mean, this was just a really cool experience to get to work with everybody on the Team Milk Fed, the Bitch Planet world. I love being able to contribute just a little bit here and there, and so it's not. It's awesome to get this opportunity. I mean, I'm just really grateful to Kelly Sue, and I hope I tell a story that kind of gets people a little bit, and otherwise entertains a little bit and contributes. I don't know. I appreciate it, guys. Is there anything else you guys want to ask?
Shoot, we've never.
Let me think here.
Nobody's ever turned that back around on us.
We're so unprepared. Yeah. Shuffling notes everywhere, papers
All right,
flying.
We'll go out on that note. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God, Jake!
Yeah, turn it off. No. Here's something. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, I mean, it's still Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I have this weird connection to March and Empire Strikes Back too. Because everybody kept trying to. They were like, so after the first book came out, everybody wanted to know what the rest of the trilogy would be like. Because I think they were all like secretly trying to ask for details to see if they could tell if it was going to suck. And we just kept telling them that March was like, it was just like Star Wars, right? And the next book would be Empire Strikes Back. And then when I did the sort of plot graph, because there is no like finite beginning or end in
mm-hmm.
book 2, it sort of matched the character development almost identically to Empire Strikes Back. And because, I mean, it's just like sort of this universal graph for doing the middle part of a trilogy. And yet, John Lewis's life, when looked at in the movement as an arc too, emulated this, prototypical hero narrative, but he was real.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I really it stayed with me for days once I sort of put all that together, because you're realizing what the heck you've really gotten yourself into, and what this story means, and how important it is to do it. And it's funny because book 2, it was our first. We won the Eisner for it. It was my first Eisner, and but it was the one like up until that point it had gotten like the least amount of attention. Like it didn't sell as well as 1 or 3. We always sort of talked about it as like the stepchild book, because it came out right after IDW bought Top Shelf, right?
Yeah.
And so they were sort of all figuring their self out too, and all these sort of things. And I don't know, it's like Empire Strikes Back and book 2 were always interconnected. And so I think even if The Last Jedi was the most amazing Star Wars movie ever, I still wouldn't be able to look at it the same way.
I'm trying to remember, Jake, were we at the Eisners where March won? Or were we at the one before?
Well, let's see. What year would that have been?
We were at the Eisners in 2015.
Okay.
We would have been 2016.
Ah,
So we just missed it.
I do remember like seas parting on the San Diego show
yeah.
floor for the
No,
Congressman.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Oh, that would have been the first children's march.
Which would be what, 2014?
2015.
2015. Well, either way, I remember him making waves.
I do
on-
remember. Yeah, I remember seeing him.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, and it did like part the sea.
yeah, that is San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was 2015. It was something else, man. Like, you want to talk about a risk, though? Like, before John Lewis went to Comic-Con for the first time, conventional wisdom says that it would have gone poorly. And it was kind of one of those things where, you really roll the dice and just have to bet on that this confluence of comics and John Lewis as a person and everything will work out and sort of be welcomed. And I was just so impressed, just the way the comics community treated themselves or treated him and acted around him when he first came and when he's come back since.
I mean, he's a big deal. I mean, he is the real deal.
He's a BFD.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one last question, Andrew, before we sign off.
Yeah.
I guess you got one from Master Jake, unless Master Chris has one.
No, I'm dumbfounded.
Who's your favorite superhero?
I mean, so it vacillates wildly. I mean, I grew up on Batman, right? Like, there's some pretty embarrassing pictures of me as a young boy, and just like my first day of kindergarten, just to break down how cool I was as a kid to you guys. My first day of kindergarten, there's a photograph of me in front of the flagpole right outside of the school. And I'm wearing my hot Nike kicks and Batman socks pulled all the way up to my knee so that everybody can see that they are Batman socks.
Let them know.
That was the kind of kid I was.
Mothers, lock up your daughters.
The Dark Knight is here.
Yeah, brace
patrol on the
yourselves.
playground.
Down. But and then I got I guess everything we got almost out of the '90s was sort of the anti-hero, right? Like, So I don't know if I can like quote some of those guys, but like I loved Impulse when he first came out, and I read Preacher and Transmetropolitan and Somebody should do a Spider Jerusalem Transmetro TV show right now and just like change it a little bit, and all of a sudden the Smiler becomes Donald Trump, and boom, like instant like relevant satire.
Yeah, Warren Ellis was a man ahead of his time. I don't know why
he really was.
Yeah.
He talks about it as his id gone wild in some of his newsletters, which I think everybody should read. They're awesome. I look forward to them every Sunday. But like, I mean, sure, some part of it is like gross out humor, but some of the other parts are just like spot on. It's really uncanny.
Yeah. It's hard to read Transmet these days. I can read Planetary just fine though, because they have a kaiju issue.
No, they're coming.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting harder to read Judge Dredd too, because I'm like, oh, that's like 20 years.
The wastelands and the and the
president. Well, just the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I like reading it. I don't want to be in Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
That would not be ideal.
Yeah. Well, again, the Bitch Planet triple feature is out in comic book stores everywhere and on Comixology if you're more digitally inclined. On Wednesday, June 14th, you can catch Andrew for all you DCists, Washingtonians. You can catch him at Awesome Con this coming weekend, or if you're more San Diego inclined, you can catch him at San Diego and swing by the Image booths where Jake and I can, what do we do? I mean, just with
just yell. Yell at me.
Bags.
Yeah.
Get your copy of Image Plus signed by Sam.
Or Beowulf. I did a translation of
There you
Beowulf
go.
too.
Yeah, get that signed.
Yeah.
Did you really?
I did. Came out in January. If you swing by the Image thing, and if we've ordered plenty,
It's metal as fuck.
I'll give one to you and personalize your signature.
Oh hell yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of the most gangster comic book thing. Like on the side, and I translated Beowulf. from Old English or whatever it is.
Yeah. For some reason, that doesn't do anything for me on Tinder, though.
You
Just
know,
wait.
you're just.
You mean that
Sorry,
crappy
there's-
CGI movie?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's got sexy Angelina Jolie as opposed to not sexy
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie. Yeah. Anyway, but not my book.
You just need to find a one with a classical education.
There you
Of
go.
course, I will scour the earth.
Search Beowulf on Tinder. Actually, don't do that.
Geek Out does not endorse searching Beowulf on Tinder.
I'm Grendel. Ugh.
I think that's it. I think that's a different app.
Yeah. Oh shit.
But yeah, Andrew, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, guys. Well, I appreciate it. I hope everybody will check out the issue, and I hope to meet all you guys soon. Hopefully, I'll see you at AwesomeCon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Right on.
Awesome.
And
Thanks, guys.
I do love that Sam gets the double plug in every time,
Yeah.
where you say when it comes out, and then the interviewer start with you saying when it comes out,
Yeah.
just to fucking ram it down their throat.
And then the interview ends with
Dude, if
him
they don't know when it
reminding-
comes out, then it's their fault.
Yeah.
Let's keep that in the final mix.
Sure.
Yeah, so thanks again to Andrew for coming on. I mean, do you guys remember the first comic book? Because he was talking like Uncanny X-Men, that hollow foil. What was the first comic book not necessarily in a spinner rack of a Piggly Wiggly, but where do you guys remember?
For me, it was the Another Universe at Springfield Mall. And it was the trade paperback for The Death of Superman right after, I guess probably right after he came back. Because I was in I had grown up hardcore Superman. Like I had Superman pajamas. I still have the Velcro cape that was attached to those. But like I was going through.
This fit your body at one point?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, it went down to my butt.
Yeah.
So, still does if you pay the right price.
Shit.
But
I love how sexual this show is.
right?
Oh, I didn't even see the Jughead.
Oh yeah,
hat.
yeah. My new Jughead hat. We can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was going through this like, Superman's stupid phase, because it was something that I loved as a child. So it must be stupid now that I'm a little bit older of a child, because I was still probably maybe 8 when that happened.
Yeah, like 93, 94.
So probably at this time I was probably around 10, maybe 12 at the most when I came across it. But yeah, so for whatever reason I was like, oh, Superman dies, I'm gonna fucking pick this up, and I bought it, and then quickly found out that there was already a trade paperback of The Return of Superman, or Reign of the Superman.
Yeah, Funeral for a Friend.
I didn't read that one until later because it was an in between. It didn't really quote unquote matter to the story, and the important stuff was Reign of the Superman,
Yeah.
because it was 3 different trades. It was
Yeah.
Death, Funeral for a Friend, and then Return, which was Reign of the Superman, and then like the whole thing.
Well, they lumped
collected
it together, as like
Yeah.
World Without Superman.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to comic books, was the death of my childhood hero, and then thus the return of that hero was kind of my introduction into becoming a comic book reader. How very symbolic.
Jake, what was your first? Everybody remembers their first.
Shit. I would say for the longest time I can't honestly remember. I know the earliest memory I have of anything comic related in like a book was seeing the final page of John Byrne's Man of Steel #1. It'll be a job for Superman as he flies towards the heavens after putting on the outfit for the first time. I think the first comic I remember, like similar thing with Death of Superman, I remember that being a big deal. But I think I've debated with this many times, and I'm sure I've gone back and forth on the podcast, but I think the first comic I bought with my own money was the 3rd issue of The Rocketeer, I think, which I still have. But I think that was the first comic I ever bought. But I do remember, having my dad drag me to the local comic shop, which was probably actually funny enough. I was living in Kansas when Superman died. No, that's not true. I was living in
Lies.
Kansas or Georgia. I don't know. It's a fine line. Who really knows? only the Bozic history.
People that live in Kansas and Georgia don't even know which state they're
I mean,
in.
it's right next to each other.
Hop, skip, and jump away.
Yeah, but no, I remember dragging.
You don't
my-
even need a passport to
Yeah.
cross the border.
It was like the most hot topic at like recess was Superman dead, and I remember similar thing. I grew up being a huge Superman, Batman, Spider-Man fan. That was my trinity, and I was like, Superman isn't dead, you stupid fucking idiot. And
As a child.
yes,
Yeah.
stupid fucking nerd. And so I went and begged my dad, and my dad is a huge comic guy now, but back then was just like, what the fuck? And so we went. There's a huge line. We went and bought the issue, and I fucking was devastated reading it because he gets the shit kicked out of him. Like I said, there's still like. I every so often, because I still have that issue too. My brother has, we also have the where he goes and gets the Jonathan Kent like Purgatory or not Purgatory, but like heaven and all that stuff. That great cover. But I like the shot that always two things. One, I was like, there's Superman's nipple. Because his fucking shit gets ripped, and I was like, oh, there's Superman's nipple. That's weird. And then two, I don't know why, but then also when Doomsday fucking like punches, like hits Superman with
all that
like
blood?
in the chin with his spike, and it's like psst, like a pink mist blood. And then like again, it's all splash pages, Superman 75. And then the thing that always struck me, this sad thing, was that his parents watched him die on TV.
Yeah.
And then
the woman he loved, his fiance, he dies in Lois's arms.
It is nice that he like fucking they do a Rocky 3 and they both knock each other out, kind of thing. Although we find out that Rocky loses, but yeah. So that was kind of it. Like I said, I think
Rocky 3.
Yeah, at the end.
Oh
Ding.
yeah. My
Ding,
bad.
ding,
ding.
And Creed finally answered that. I remember like it was in the theater, and I was like, we fucking finally found out. Shit, this movie rules. That's so fucking good. No, but I kind of just have like reset my history. I'm like, I'll just say that the first comic I bought with my own money was the third issue of The Rocketeer, which was like Pacific Presents #1, Rocketeer #3, which I was confused because it said #1
First
on
Blood,
it.
Part
And I
2.
and I opened it up, and Cliff Secord's like fucked up, like in like a pile that his helmet on. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, the John Byrne Man of Steel, it has a special place in my heart for really kind of like. It's the first time I ever really remember seeing Superman in comic book form. Like I had plenty of toys, and I'd see him around on like billboards or pajamas, same kind of thing. I had Superman pajamas.
Yeah, Lois and Clark was on. Me and my family would watch that every Sunday night.
We watched Lois and Clark, and then somehow I came across the Max Fleischer cartoons too.
Fleischer came a little later for me. My father certainly introduced me to like Adventures of Superman with George Reeves, and of course the Christopher Reeve films.
I think my first exposure to the Fleischer, when Cartoon Network was still a very young network, they kind of just took any cartoons that they could air. So like, so they had the Fleischer cartoons, and I was like, oh, Superman cartoons!
Mm-hmm.
Really fucking good Superman cartoons. Yeah.
The best. Samuel?
Oh, well, I think my first, it was probably Superman #75 because I remember like a similar thing like on the schoolyard. Somebody was like, "Yo, Superman's going to fucking die."
I was like,
It was
not true.
Yeah,
clearly
it's not possible.
Clearly, it was like the perfect time for in the 3 of our lives for that to happen. Like right around that time, it's believable that we would be exploring things like comic books.
Well, I won't even finish that.
Yeah, no, because we're like 10.
No, I was like...
I said like 10. I was 9 when it happened, so you guys were like 8. Because it's 94.
I think he comes back in 94. I think he dies in 93. I don't even remember. But I remember, like, someone was like, yo, Superman's gonna fucking die. And, like, Jake, I was like, bullshit.
Yeah, fuck you.
I'm like,
you know what we need to do?
Tiny, like, bullshit.
We need to recreate, like, that, like, the Max Landis style thing.
Yeah.
Where it's us telling that story, but we're all three in a playground as little kids, and some kid walks up and he's like, Superman's gonna die, and we turn and we go, fuck you.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. We knew each other when we were like 9 somehow.
I'm gonna be the one that is like, Superman's gonna die.
Yeah.
Because I was the one that was like, yeah, Superman fucking, what a nerd.
Well, somebody had brought like some of like the earlier issues, and I distinctly remember like when Doomsday first shows up and the bird lands in his hand and it's Blorch, and like
Blorch.
I was like, oh,
Great Onomatopoeias.
Yeah. And I was just like, fuck.
Squelch.
And yeah, so I went to the what is now the Amazing Comic Shop. Used to be, at the time it was Phoenix, and it was by what used to be the Heckingers.
That was Burke Center Comics.
Burke Center Comics. I stand corrected. Yeah.
Sorry, that was the comic book shop that I went to all the time. So.
Right. Yeah. And so, I had to know. I had to fucking know. And yeah, I still have trouble with it on some level, to be honest. I have trouble seeing like Superman getting hurt because it's almost like antithetical to Superman. Especially as a little kid, it's like, but he can't get hurt. He's Superman.
Well, my thing was seeing him bleed.
John Cena.
Yeah, and you see him get
we
beat to death.
We've seen him like get fucked up
We've seen him get like knocked around or weakened
and
because
like
of
punched.
kryptonite.
But like seeing my two big things that it's like I said, still there's some like similar kind of like when I reread that issue of his costume shredding and him bleeding.
Yeah,
And like bruised and a black eye, like fuck, he's messed up.
Yeah.
But like the thing that helps combat that thing is like that like Superman fucking gives as good as he gets.
Yeah.
Like hardcore in that. And like there's that great shot where it's like kind of looking up at him and they're both holding each other's like hand, like they're both holding each other's arms, and Superman like fucking hits him with the heat vision. He's just like not fucking going down. Like it's a brutal comic book, but it's still like one of the like most intense reads ever.
Yeah, it certainly brings me back to when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's fun to flip through it every so often.
Yeah, and that, after that, it was kind of an interesting time, right? Because Superman was dead, Batman was crippled, Spider-Man was maybe a clone, like not even Marvel was sure at the time. This idea that like the tentpole characters, like Wonder Woman, was corrupted and then eventually killed during Underworld Unleashed. These tentpole characters, Green Lantern went fucking nuts. All these characters were kind of Wolverine no longer had he has adamantium, all that metal ripped out of his body. All these iconic characters were in a moment of their like lowest points. And I think on some level it kind of taught me that, hey, comics can be a kind of like a weird sensationalistic place. But at the end of the day, it's all the same because they all come back.
Yeah, well, my thing too was like I remember the issue, like the Reign of the Superman stuff, where it has like the Eradicator and Cyborg Superman and all that. And I remember seeing Cyborg Superman, and I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. Let's keep him.
I remember seeing like the Eradicator, and I was like, the fuck is this guy? Like, yeah, like Superboy. Okay, that makes it's like young Superman with like even then outdated, terrible hair. The Steel, and I was like, it's fine. He's just a dude like carrying the spirit of Superman. I get that.
Cyborg Superman was fucking metal.
Yeah, literally. And then it's the Eradicator, Last Son of Krypton, as he was nicknamed. Was like, who the fuck is? Yeah. Did you ever play that game, Death and Return of Superman, on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, I'm still circling the idea of buying like one of those like 3-in-1 things just to get games like
Don't
that.
You have one of those, Chris?
I have a Retro Pi, which
is it worth it?
Yes. It's not what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mine is a little mini computer that's specifically designed to play emulated ROMs.
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff like
okay.
But it's great because I can go I can pretty much play any video game system up to like original PlayStation era.
Cool.
A couple N64 games. Like I got Mario Kart to work on it, but not GoldenEye. Every time the da-da sting hits, it just.
I remember playing the Captain America side scroller game more.
Captain America and the Avengers. Yeah, I played that when I was in Charlotte. Like
that was like the first time
ago.
I ever really remember figuring out who Hawkeye was. That might have been
the first time I figured out who the Vision was.
And
at that time he was like bleach blonde Vision.
Well, yeah, and I was just like, no. And I was always
nobody
Hawkeye.
wants to be Vision.
I was always Hawkeye.
My brother
was always Cap.
Yeah, I was always either Cap or Iron Man because I was like,
Iron Man. Yeah, but I just like Hawkeye because I still love that outfit a lot,
which will never exist in the films.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
stupid. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. But yeah, Superman 75 kind of all.
That's the big one.
Brings it together there,
That is the winner. What did we think of Wonder Woman?
I mean, it was. I was looking forward to it because it was a big deal to, like, my sister wanted to go and get like a Wonder Woman shirt, and we went out to P.F. Chang's, and she was asking me all these questions about Wonder Woman, and it was cool just sitting talking about Wonder Woman and getting excited to see Wonder Woman and getting to experience that with her because, like I said, she's had to come to all the Superman, Batman, Spider-Man movies, and it was nice to see Wonder Woman kick some arse on the big screen, and that's awesome. Like I said, it's such a course correction, great, wonderful leap in the right direction for the DC cinematic universe.
Yeah,
and I'm very excited that it hit because I was so fucking nervous that like it couldn't take another the DC cinematic universe could not take another direct hit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was very.
Wonder Woman saved the day.
Yeah, she did what Superman and Batman couldn't do, and she's still the best part of the movie that Batman and Superman are in.
Oh yeah, she's the best part of this movie too.
Yes, some would say Wonder Woman is, in fact, the best part about Wonder Woman.
I loved like quote unquote clueless Wonder Woman. Like just
fish out of water.
Yeah, well, like even in Themyscira, right? Themyscira.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it.
It's fake, so whatever. Right? But yeah,
I mean, also true. Yes.
Yeah. but yeah, even her, like because she's very sheltered while she's in in her own society. But yes, also out in the quote unquote real world, just being like clueless. It was such a nice touch for her to just be like, her idealistic views are what help her save the day. Like I thought that was a nice little, like, maybe not so much a minor detail, but like a nice touch for the character. And Gal Gadot plays it so perfectly. I guess it's Gal Gadot.
I've always heard
you got it right the first time.
No, I've always heard you pronounce the T.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
That's
like
what
I've heard like from interviews where she was there, to correct them, she doesn't. So like I always assumed it was Gadot because
Me too.
It makes sense to me because I understand French, but she's not French, so all the rules are out the window. But this isn't pronouncing her name correctly podcast. This is
we can start one of those.
I would love to.
Yeah.
One episode.
It's Gadot. And this has been another Geek Out production. If you like what you heard.
the outro is longer than the show. But anyway, so but yeah, and she was perfect. I remember when I first heard that she had been casted as Wonder Woman, I was hesitant because I totally forgot that she was the woman from the Fast and the Furious movies. So I was like, I don't know who this woman is. Much like how I was, like when Henry Cavill was first cast as Superman, I was like, I don't know who that is. And Ben Affleck was cast as Batman. I was like, I know who that is. No, actually, but anyway, like seeing her like rock it, like I was just like, fuck yes, this is the one woman that I understandably know not too much about because I haven't read a lot of like Wonder Woman in the past, but like that was exactly what I wanted in a superhero movie, from the DC universe for the past 10 years, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean it's what the DC cinematic universe needed.
Yeah,
that that shot of hope and love and compassion. I mean, and that's what Wonder Woman's all about. And it really sums it up in that last little speech she gives. But and I am fascinated by World War I, and you don't see a lot of World War I movies, and so it was fascinating to see this movie take place in World War I. I think a huge part of that, everyone says, is because Cap was in World War II, probably, and then also I think to get to the no man's land scene, which will be the main scene, that and the beach invasion scene. That I think this movie will be remembered for in terms of scene-wise. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that No Man's Land was their Superman catching the helicopter to save Lois moment. I've seen that going around on social media and whatnot.
I could see that, yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. So, yeah. Job well done, Wonder Woman people.
Interesting. I literally just now read, and it's just the headline of a BuzzFeed article, so maybe, who knows. But apparently Gal Gadot was pregnant while filming Wonder Woman.
By 5 months by the time the principal photography was done.
Okay, so apparently this was general knowledge for everyone except me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes it doubly impressive.
So you get for reading BuzzFeed.
It was a link that someone posted on Facebook.
No, that's fine. BuzzFeed is, fine.
They're fine. They're fine.
But like, look, there's little squabbles like any movie. How did you guys feel about the third act?
The Ares, the depiction of Ares didn't do it for me.
Yeah, and that's a bummer because Ares is fucking metal. Remember in Injustice?
Yeah.
Remember in the
Is
comics?
he not in Injustice 2?
No.
Well, then, fuck Injustice 2.
Worst game of the year.
I don't remember if he's in
You can
any...
be Swamp Thing, awesome. You can't
Yeah.
be Ares, get the
fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of I personally, like, I don't know anything about the villain characters. I don't know if what's her name, Madame Poison or whatever the hell. Is she a regular villain in the Wonder Woman mythos?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's an audio program, so I was waiting to hear it.
You could just say yes. You could just say you're nodding. You can dictate.
But it's someone else responding to
yeah.
me. Anyway,
I'll hold your hand if you want, buddy.
Just saying. But no, I don't need you to hold my hand.
All right. Wasn't sure.
No, you can just say yes. It's fine. But I was kind of expecting her to come out that like she was Ares all along. Like I thought that would have been quite the interesting turn, and probably a more interesting turn than just this random British guy we saw in the first act.
There was a part when I was like, oh cool, what if it was her?
Yeah.
Because she was more interesting than either of the two. The one fake out, which I did not like his performance.
Danny Houston from Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh yeah, and then Ares when he like shows up again. Spoilers now for Wonder Woman. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if you heard that
didn't scare you.
If you heard that, we are in spoiler territory. Remember when she's in the fucking tower and he shows up and he like. Fucking shows up at like she turns and he's there and turns and like people were like laughing in the theater because I was like, that's dumb. Like, what are we doing? And then when they started fighting, he was still in like the British man outfit, and I was like, oh my god, please transform into Ares, please, because I can't handle this. And luckily he did, but then it kind of became like end of Batman v Superman Light, where it's just them throwing massive explosions at each other in an airfield.
It's very much like kind of DC's house style cinematically.
And that
at least they didn't destroy Metropolis again.
Yeah.
No, they destroyed all of Belgium.
I will say one of my favorite moments.
That's a historical event. Mostly.
Wait, Metropolis isn't?
One of my favorite moments that does happen in the third act is the death of Steve Trevor and her reaction, and the last moment she remembers with him. Like somehow she remembers, like gives him the watch. And he's like, "I love you," and I'm like, "What a fucking pimp."
Chris Pine is
great.
like
he was like a perfect choice.
Dude,
for Steve Trevor.
Chris Pine, I love Chris Pine, and like I remember when he was first cast as Captain Kirk, and I was like, I don't see it. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay.
I
Father,
wish
I will become a Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
I wish
that conversation isn't far off.
Yeah. I wish he got more time to be Jack Ryan, because that movie was like solid to the third act.
Yeah, I didn't see the Shadow Recruit
film. If they found a way,
Hell or High Water though.
oh yeah, fuck yeah. If they found a way to just give him a different haircut and make him like a descendant of Steve Trevor,
Yeah.
like modern day Steve Trevor, or what if he's in like every movie? The next movie is World War II, and then
Jack
he's in like
Trevor.
Vietnam. Because everyone's like, oh, the next movie should be like Cheetah in World War II. I want Cheetah in Vietnam. I want a like Vietnam Wonder Woman
It
where
makes
she's
sense.
fighting
Yeah,
Cheetah.
because Vietnam is more of a jungle climate. Whatever. Land.
hot. It's hot.
And Cheetah is more of a jungle character.
Yeah. But anyways, I quite enjoyed Chris Pine, Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
Like and one of the great things about this movie too is it brought unforced humor to DC, where like I was laughing because stuff was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like like looking nervously around at
Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was joke fatigue, man. Jesus God.
Ripe.
Yeah, that was not a huge fan of that film.
I like Guardians 2, but I'll take Wonder Woman over Guardians 2 any day of the fucking week.
Mm-hmm.
Would you put Wonder Woman at the top of the comic thing for this year so far? Out of like Guardians and
Lego Batman probably went just because
Logan.
Lego Batman's just so. I would watch Wonder Woman before I'd watch Logan.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I like the way Logan starts.
Mm-hmm. Dude, what is it with superhero movies in third acts?
I don't. Yeah, Guardians 2 shits itself in its third act as well.
Although we did say the Guardian villain turn and overall performance is better than Ares. Ares is
an afterthought.
Sad to say,
almost,
the worst part of Wonder Woman.
I would rather Ares be the worst part than Wonder Woman herself, but yes.
Well, yes. Yeah. But I'm saying
again, it's like an afterthought. It's like we need a big boss fight. You're
but like, how are we in the 21st century where the boss battle is an afterthought? Like how the fuck? Like
it's an origin story.
I guess, but is it just
Unless Ares is they kind of try. They imply that Ares like wiped out Olympus, right?
Uh-huh.
So the thing is, unless your origin is implicitly tied to your villain, the villain in an origin is going to come off as an afterthought.
Yeah, I think it would have been more interesting, and this is my fantasy booking, if it had ended up just being like a big boss battle between Wonder Woman and what's his name, Colonel Jackoff. And he's like souped up on the superhero serum.
That's right, they had that.
Yeah. And like that
lasts like 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. The superhero adrenaline shot that wears off. But like, like them duking it out with that boom, boom, boom. And like they have the same like kind of like, oh, it wasn't Ares. And then like they find a way to be like, no, he was just being like controlled by Ares, but Ares is still out there, and then have that be like an ongoing, like she's constantly fighting Ares, because then like the concept of like once you destroy Ares, like all the
war
evil
is not gone.
Like they've shown movies that chronologically happen after this movie where there's still fighting and still war, still conflict. So presumably Ares still lives, and then they kill Ares at the end of this movie. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, kind of the same whole like villains the afterthought at the end. Like I feel like it would have been cooler to drag out, make it a Blofeld
mm-hmm.
type character. Like he's just been pulling the strings the whole time.
Sure, and that's another thing that kind of bums me out is like we still kill the villain in like every movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like very
that bums me out too.
Yeah, like that's
Loki's like the one exception to that rule.
Yeah, and
I guess Abomination and the Incredible
Lex.
Hulk. Lex, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he just gets the wall next to him punched.
Yeah. I do like the little
TikTok.
Yeah. I do like the little Bruce Wayne note at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was a nice little like, oh yeah, shit.
Although I did sense some confusion in my theater when I was watching it, when it was clearly modern day and everyone's like, huh? Like I heard audible like, huhs, and like, I thought this was supposed to be why is it modern day?
Yeah.
Bookends, bitches.
Yeah. Although I will agree that it did not necessarily need the opening,
mm-hmm.
but it would have been cute to have like the Sandlot ending, where like it
she has the
fades
giant
into
fishing hat on,
yeah.
and she's like, the jet stole home, the jet stole home.
Yeah, or the Stand By Me ending where it's just, I guess you could call it the Doogie Howser ending because it's the same thing. He's
just,
typing away.
They're
his
all
computer.
dead. This was in 1918. They're
Yes.
all dead.
They're all dead. We
Yeah.
survived, but we died.
There was a part of me that was hoping that she was going to go on the roof and the Justice League was going to be there.
Mm.
And I would have been like, bing bong, boom.
Like it's nice that this
It
movie was
smart
totally
that-
like
yes,
standalone,
it
but
was.
but I agree that it would have been like a cute little like,
When she got to the
Wonder
roof, I was
Woman
like,
will
oh, shit,
return
oh,
in
shit.
Justice League.
I was like, she's going to get on the roof and Batman's going to be... But it would have made no sense because Batman's like, I fucking had to deliver that shit, but I'm right here. But I was like, that would have been nice if she got up there and they're just like, let's fucking do this.
Or maybe like teased like Superman returning. Yeah.
Even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't even keep it in one fucking movie.
Yeah. He's not dead.
Yeah.
Here he is.
It's very League of Extraordinary Gentlemen how they end that film.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
I do like that they have yet to like show anything in the two trailers.
Even though there's like Henry Cavill straight up like doing reshoots, and he's clearly like,
oh yeah, there's that great picture of him like drinking coffee like in his Superman thing, explaining to us the history of Superman, which I was like, that's the greatest photo on Instagram of all time.
The nice thing is, and they haven't done this because, the nice thing that they could do, and they haven't done this, and I don't think anyone would accept it, but it would be cute if they tried it. Be like, oh, that's just Henry Cavill hanging out in his suit. He's not shooting.
Yeah, they're like, Henry Cavill hasn't.
Like,
he
hasn't taken the suit off.
I wouldn't.
He wears it underneath his tux suits at the premiere parties.
It's amazing though in like real life photo how bright the colors are on his boots.
Yeah,
and his
it's
pants.
color correction in post.
Yeah,
it's just like seeing the production, like full colored production stills from black and white movies and stuff like that. How the colors are just ridiculous.
Yeah,
or
because you have to get the high contrast.
Earlier, I had invoked George Reeves.
Yes.
The original George Reeves Superman costume wasn't, traditional Superman colors because it didn't photograph as well in black and white.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was the red was purple and I think the blue was white.
Or like kind of like an eggshell. Yeah, basically.
Watch Hollywoodland. They show you what the true colors were.
You get to see Ben Affleck be Superman.
Yeah.
It's
actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie, yeah.
Yeah. You guys getting anything? I remember being pretty tipsy during Wonder Woman because I had like pre-gamed at a bar with some friends, and then me and a friend of mine were basically splitting a bottle of like Bullet bourbon during the entire film.
I would love to see just shit-faced Sam watching a Wonder Woman. That's my Wonder Woman. Woo!
There she is.
No man's land, but she's a lady.
It's just like that scene in Lord of the Rings.
I am no man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys getting anything else?
Bought a Jughead hat.
It's a pretty good Jughead hat, I have to say. As I say on this audio podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
or I will just nod and you'll just infer.
Yeah.
We've done this so long that I think they can hear you nod if you listen closely.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between my like disapproving silence periods. There's almost like a smolder, like a, and then there's like a good, like
just use your eyebrows. Like what was the guy from Rambo?
Oh, Richard Crenna.
Yeah. Just Richard Crenna.
That's Josh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. The world's greatest silent podcast.
Yeah, who knows? He could be here the entire time, guys.
We love him. He's great.
He could be.
But yeah, no, it's modeled mostly after the design that they use for Jughead on Riverdale. Mm-hmm. And when I saw it available on Etsy, I knew I had to have it. And it's so comfy, but because it's knit, it's very thick, I cannot wear it because we are now venturing into the summer months.
Jughead does it. You can do it too.
I'm not as strong as Jughead.
No spoilers, but I did finish Riverdale. I finally watched last episode with my sister because I was like, I don't want to watch last episode because then there won't be any more to watch.
Right.
Some fucking shit goes
on. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That show's fucking
I need to get in on this.
As
so good.
Fuck. And like I said, out of all of us, I think you would probably enjoy it the most because you actually read the shit.
Yeah. Or you would hate it the most.
That's true. That's
because
true.
you read.
I'm reading the Jughead, Chip Zdarsky Jughead.
That's how it's pronounced.
Yep.
Well, that'll tie into the Gal Gadot podcast.
Yeah, it's a Eastern European. The J is a Y sound. It's Jughead.
Jughead.
And there's umlauts over the U, so it's Jughead.
Jughead.
It's wild. I read more Archie comics than I do DC comics. How fucking crazy is that? Pretty fucking crazy.
2017.
Yeah.
Jughead Archie's more popular with Sam Stone.
Well, at least
how many Star Wars books do you read?
All of them. So it's what Core series, Dr. Aphra, Poe Dameron,
2,
and then there's like 2 miniseries.
Yeah,
so 5.
Because Vader at the time of this just dropped. Vader Year 1.
Yeah. And
Excited for that.
what's the miniseries right now, or would be what, Darth Maul and Rogue One?
Oh, Rogue One's gonna have some. Okay.
Yeah.
I am.
So I guess 6 if you were for counting Vader.
Fair enough.
You don't read any of them, do you? Just Vader?
Just Vader. I have all of Vader in trade paperback, the 25 issues, which was dope. I had the first volume of Star Wars. I think I read that, and I have the. I'm not going to tell you why I'm laughing. The young Anakin Obi-Wan.
Yes.
I also I haven't finished that yet, but I also have the Chewbacca 5-issue mini.
Yeah.
Jerry Duggan. That was delightful.
Pretty good.
That was delightful. Was Phil Noto? Was that Phil Noto?
Phil Noto on art.
Fantastic.
Phil
that
Noto,
first shot of Chewie,
yeah,
in the fucking in the flowers.
Yeah.
Just loving his day.
Phil Noto is potentially, and all due respect to all the artists we've had on the show, he's top tier for me.
You know who else is top tier? If we're talking about top tier, because I have, there's a She-Hulk he did that's fucking astounding. Is Adam Hughes,
who does Betty and Veronica right now? Speaking of
Hughes,
full circle.
Yeah.
And I just realized before we started recording, I was talking to Chris, that the reason his Twitter profile picture are 2 chunks of waffles is because it's an A and an H. The way that
yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's why he's a fucking artist, dude. Shit.
Negative space.
Yeah, no, but his he's been posting a lot of stuff just behind the scenes stuff and a lot of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's ridiculous.
Yeah,
absurd.
Yeah,
how good that is.
I wish we could get maybe if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to get Nicola Scott back on the show.
Oh yeah, because she was
she is the biggest Wonder Woman fan
without question, and it was
Period.
so much fun. I follow her on Instagram as well, watching her count down.
Yeah,
and then I felt like a little kid living through her when she got to go to the premiere and meet Linda Carter
and Gal
Gadot and Patty Jenkins, and it'd be a good movie.
Yeah,
yeah,
imagine all that, and it's a terrible film.
Oh, I know. But
such a heartbreaker.
That was so cool. Like I said, and I love when people are super passionate about something like that. That, that is I love that shit. When someone's and of course she draws a fucking wonderful, perfect Wonder Woman. And so that was really fun to see on Instagram. And like I said, and it'd be this huge smash hit, which is awesome. And maybe.
God, how disastrous would it have been for DC, for female directors, for female-led action blockbusters?
Holy shit, man! But
thank God it's so good.
And you know what this is going to open the fucking floodgates for, and it's so awesome.
She-Hulk
miniseries on Netflix. It's going to happen, and I'm going to fucking write it. No,
then some execs can be like, "This trash."
Yeah, trash.
Somehow worse than Iron Fist.
Yeah. Oh shit, that would suck. But I mean, obviously, but the cool thing is this is probably the first time Marvel's fuck, because they got Captain Marvel they're working on, which I mean has Brie Larson, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and if that introduces Marvel somehow in the universe too, and his best story being the death of Captain Marvel, which is honestly probably my favorite Marvel story of all time. But
high praise.
It's fucking Jim Starlin, man, fucking awesome. But yeah, I mean, just think of the the female superhero stories that are going to start coming in. It's about damn time. Yeah. And like I said, I'm semi joking about She-Hulk, but I really want to see a She-Hulk story. Did you ever see that? I don't. This is probably already came and went, but when they were talking about the Netflix stuff, I think somebody, or maybe she even brought it up herself, Rosario Dawson was like, "I play She-Hulk." If that obviously she's not Jennifer Walters, but if she somehow is night nurse, she's messing with stuff, boom, bang, bing, bong, she becomes, she gets the radiation stuff and she's fucking She-Hulk.
Yeah.
She could totally rock that.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, we got Batgirl coming out.
Yes.
With Joss Whedon, which is, I mean, perfect. I mean, come on, man.
I don't even.
1 + 1 = 2.
Can you even do that again?
1 + 1 = 2. Audio
podcast.
Yes, but no, who? Okay. I'm going to play Sam Stone for a second, and I'm going to throw this out. Because you already know, I would love to see like a She-Hulk related thing. Is there a certain female superhero or comic character that now Wonder Woman has rightfully kicked down the goddamn door and been like, who would you like to see be on the big or small screen next?
Oof! Now that Wonder Woman's off the board, since she's been introduced, I mean, Supergirl would be pretty cool.
I mean, she got one.
Yeah, that's
Lest
true.
we forget,
You're right,
and
you're right.
Warner Brothers and DC probably want us to forget that she did.
That's not included
because she was the first one that came to my mind. I was like, oh wait, no, she got one.
And there's a reason she's not included in any of the Christopher Reeve box sets.
But yeah, even though the Jimmy Olsen was the same,
That's right.
in all
Mark
4
McClure,
movies,
yeah.
or all 5 movies.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be a cameo, right, from Christopher Reeve?
Yeah, but he was busy filming some cop shit.
But yeah, she's also on my list of a good movie.
Yeah.
She just made the list.
Honest to God. And she'll probably show up in Dark Universe if that movie ends up happening. Zatanna would be pretty fucking sweet. You know, I think Zatanna is great. I think
Alexandra Daddario is Zatanna.
Yeah, I think Black Canary's cool. Big Barda.
Proper Batgirl,
Yeah.
not Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, which we're getting.
That's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, are we? Okay, cool.
Joss Whedon's directing it too.
That's right. You guys just said that. I blanked.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's okay.
You're fine.
Fucking dumbass, Sam. Jesus fucking Christ.
I blacked. I was
You
trying
didn't
to
hear that, right?
I was trying to read articles on how to properly pronounce Gal Gadot to make sure that I wasn't making an ass out of myself.
And you get
You can orders pollo. No, Zatanna would be cool.
Zatanna would be cool. Yeah. Zatanna's
She's on
cool.
Smallville, which was fucking dope.
Yeah, played by Serinda Swan.
Perfection.
Maybe
She
some
was
Marvel ladies.
Other than She-Hulk, because you kind of, and obviously Carol Danvers is getting the nod. Yeah, that's kind of, let's see. Well,
I don't know enough Marvel.
the problem is a lot of them are on like teams like Invisible Woman, fantastic character, part of the Fantastic Four.
Dude,
All the female like X-Men. There's
Yeah.
lots, and they're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Rogue, Storm, Jean Grey.
For the first one that popped into my mind on the Marvel side was Gwen Stacy, and I was like, or Spider-Gwen specifically, and I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh, but she's a brand new character. How about some of the ladies that have been waiting in the
Spider-Woman?
wings?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like a Spider-Woman.
Yeah, I guess Netflix already nabbed Elektra. So,
And Hellcat's gonna. Isn't she kind of getting her? Isn't there a talk about her?
well, and Hellcat being in Jessica Jones and everything.
Yeah. And Jessica Jones. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I would so fucking love to see like a proper Fantastic Four.
Oh, I mean,
Could you imagine that? Like that. I mean, that's not like the final piece, obviously, to the puzzle, but bringing in Fantastic Four and Doom into like the Marvel universe is already well established.
I feel like
The fuck.
it's not
Outta
that
here.
far off because
I know. Yeah.
they haven't. There's been like zero talk about a Fantastic Four just to keep for Fox to keep the
Is
rights.
Fox finally throwing in the towel?
I would assume they're
Yeah.
just like
Because I'm reading. I'm also in the midst of the Matt Fraction, Mike Allred FF. That's so much damn fun.
That's a fun one. Yeah, that's a winner.
If it's half as good as his Hawkeye comic, Matt Fraction, Hawkeye, then
it's
yeah.
hilarious.
It's more fun than it's like family oriented fun.
They have like there's like the moments of like Ant-Man dealing with some shit, you know,
because his
with
daughter died.
There's some heavy stuff, and there's like future Johnny Storm that's like one-eyed and has like a
Kind of looks like Madman.
He does, yeah. And of course She-Hulk's on the team, but that's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a super exciting time because, this shouldn't have been 2017, like now, but the fact that, I mean, at least it's starting now with the rollout for hopefully plenty of opportunity for female-led superhero films.
Yeah, bring them on.
And just directors in general,
Yeah, I mean, Patty Jenkins was originally supposed to direct Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Interesting.
And she's been like optioning or trying to get Wonder Woman done for like the last at least 10 years, right? Something like that.
Certainly since she left Thor.
Yeah.
How far did she get into Thor? Do you know? Is it just like basic? Like
she'd signed on.
oh, she did. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know like how far into the process she got.
And then it was either it was right before she signed on, or it was like deep into negotiation. It got because Natalie Portman brought her on personally.
Oh,
And
that's
that
right.
was
Okay,
it's kind of been alluded to. That's the reason Natalie Portman didn't come back for 3.
yeah, because I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shame.
But the cool thing is, we get more Wonder Woman this year.
Yeah, in like 5 months. Wow.
Yeah, so that's gonna be. I mean,
Janky.
hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
We're back. You know,
The reshoots have. If they called fucking Henry Cavill from the set of the new Mission Impossible,
Shave your mustache and get out there and kick ass.
they, you know that they're like, we need this.
Yeah, I mean,
We need another win, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please God. Oh God, no.
like they're
Wonder
like,
Woman set the bar really high, guys.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think they were doing reshoots in general, but then with Wonder Woman, they're like shooting a lot.
Yeah.
And like the next Justice League trailer is probably going to be very Wonder Woman centric,
Oh, I'm sure.
not like Batman centric.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no white stripes this time either.
Hopefully, no Superman either. I don't want to see Superman until I'm in the seat on the big
That's-
screen.
yeah,
I don't
that-
want to see a promo picture of Superman. I love you, Josh, but I don't don't post any of that shit.
Yeah.
I want it to be.
What happens when we go to San Diego and they?
That's all it is.
Or do we just avoid the DC booth this time?
I just close my eyes unless Henry Cavill's walking around in her V for Vendetta mask again.
Again, yeah, we saw him walk by the image booth, didn't we?
Yeah, but no, you're now feeling what I felt when like Rogue One was coming out, and I was like, I don't want to see Vader at all. I know he's going to be in it. It's impossible for him to not be in it.
Now-
but like, I don't want to see or hear like, I don't even want that.
I will say that if I do see something or something is posted, I'll probably watch it a million times and be like, fuck yeah. But I would prefer, but I know it's going to be, it's not going to happen. But I would hope that even though it's obvious that he's coming back, that we don't know how, when, why.
Zatanna.
Yeah. No Superman, it's just Zatanna.
Has like the fishnets and everything.
But it's Cavill
Yeah.
in the fishnets.
Yeah. And heels.
Hell yeah.
I bet you he could rock a pair of heels.
Dude, totally. I haven't watched his Netflix movie yet that he's in. It's like Sand Castle or something. It's a military film.
Not a Hendrix film.
No.
Not a full length feature version of Sandcastles in the Sand by Robin Sparkles.
Oh God, yes. Let's
Deep.
go to the mall
Today.
Yes, yeah. It's like Sandcastle something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on Netflix. Check it out. Why was I looking up Kirk and Spock on my phone? Oh, wow. Times are changing.
You guys got anything else?
I'm gonna find out the name of this movie real quick.
I started watching on Jake's recommendation. I started watching Winona Earp.
because it's starting up soon.
Yes,
This
season
Friday.
2. Season 2 comes out.
Sandcastle is what it's called. 2 words. Thank you.
But yeah, so I checked it out. I'm like 5 or 6 episodes into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sold. There's a good chance that Jake was overselling it because he definitely made it sound like it was going to be like right on the money. I was going to love it. And who knows, there's still like a good 10 episodes.
No, it's just, I know
For
you
it
better
to-
than you think you know yourself, and you haven't calibrated yet.
You think you know me. You
Yeah.
think you know me.
But you haven't got a clue.
Sam
knows.
I do.
Somebody did a head in time with me.
Yeah.
In
I was
time.
whereas I was doing Edge's entrance music, where then it cuts into Alter Bridge. On this day,
Alter
I
Bridge.
see clearly.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Edge, Adam Copeland, if I may.
Whatever happened to his Atom Smasher?
He dies.
Oh, he does? Oh,
Yeah, spoilers for Flash season 2?
because he's in like that first
Season 3.
He's in that one episode.
2, right.
He's
yeah.
in that one episode, and then
I could have sworn they imprisoned him.
Yeah, and then Zoom shows
yeah.
up and's like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
what a fucking waste.
Yeah. Right. It was so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Right
a good,
on.
He's a good guy. He gets a second season of the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesome on the WWE network.
Nice.
But yeah. But so Winona Earp, as I was talking about, 10 minutes ago now? Not. But it's I mean, it's good enough to keep me coming back though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm enjoying elements of it. I kind of like the idea of like the mythos around it. It has a very early supernatural feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And even like there was like one whole season where it pretty much followed the same, almost the exact same like plot, because they had like this special demon killing gun. But like their thing was like, we only have 6 bullets, whereas apparently Winona Earp can put any bullet into this gun. Oh, it's fine. Which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. The only thing that I would complain about, or the big thing that I would complain about, is that it's very much a sci-fi, like made for sci-fi show where like, oh no, here's the big bad. Like 15 minutes into the episode, is it an hour-long episode or half hour long?
It's hour
long. So like 40 minutes into the episode, oh, here's the big bad, and then 50 minutes into the episode, big bad is vanquished.
Yeah, it's the season 1 mold of like a lot of those shows.
Yeah,
is like Creature of the Week, Demon of the Week,
and I'm fine with Demon of the Week.
Yeah, you watch
Revenant,
Supernatural.
Yeah, Revenant of the Week, if I may.
That's right. That's right.
Because that's what Papa called them.
Yeah, I'm excited for 2. Like,
it's a recurring line.
I fell in love with the whole idea of the show, and I was like, why am I not watching this at San Diego last year? And so I bought it all on iTunes because that was what I did. And it's on Netflix now. Check it out if you want. And then season 2, I'm excited to start watching that. I believe by the time this podcast is out, I think episode 1 or season 2, episode 1 is already dropped. So check it.
Twin Peaks still being fucking weird. Well, I mean, like even like weird for Twin Peaks status, like uncomfortable weird. Where it's just like the original Twin Peaks was like, oh, okay, that's just quirky. Like now I'm like, but again, just like Winona Earp, like just enough to keep me going. It's got a very slow burn for like a very This time around, I think they have a well fleshed out, what the plan is kind of thing. Whereas the original Twin Peaks, it kind of felt like they were just kind of making it up as they were going along. So that's a nice touch. We'll see where it leads. Sam, you get into anything else?
I usually just sign us off.
Every once in a while, just like those guests that are like, what are you guys geeking out on?
Oh, yeah.
I like to throw you a curveball.
I do like it when they ask us. It's very
nice.
polite of them.
Yeah.
But, oh, golly.
Golly!
Yeah.
It is called catching up.
Yeah. I don't get caught up, boys. Let's see. I'm all caught up on, as I contradict myself, I'm all caught up on Better Call Saul.
Oh, nice. When I was at work, I was walking by and someone was like,
Better Call Saul.
they're like, Better Call Saul. It's so good, Better Call Saul. And they were just like 2 guys were talking about it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've loved it.
How many seasons is it?
This is the middle. They're in the middle of their 3rd. I have a season pass.
Word.
Yeah. At the time that this thing posts, I'll have just come back from fucking Florida. And then I've, Awesome Con is the weekend after this thing posts.
Go.
Yeah, I've got that panel in on Sunday in room 144B/C. So if you guys are at Awesome Con, that's where I'll be. That and I'm only going to be there that Sunday. So yeah,
It's cool, man.
should be sweet. Diversity in comic books and diversity in comic book panels.
It would be pretty awkward for that panel to be full of just white guys.
Yeah.
So thank you for.
I only half qualify. I don't know if you noticed, but when the dude was handing out like our food, because we always get dinner before this, sometimes after, sometimes both.
Sometimes during.
Yeah.
If only.
Yeah, just during the commentaries, kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like once or twice I brought in pizza.
Yeah.
But
yes,
I've drank during the commentary.
Yeah, I wish we drank during more of them. But he was handing out like the food, and he's like, "Well, this looks Korean," and I was just like, You're half
I should have been
right.
like, thank you.
You
bigot!
In his defense, it was the Korean sauce.
Yeah, yeah.
And I assume that's what he was referring to. I hope so.
I'm going to assume too. Yeah, but it was just like it's always kind of like, yeah, I am.
You're like, no, I got the glory.
Yeah,
Racist.
Just standard buffalo. Anyway, sorry, I got the bison sauce. Yeah, but that's really, I mean, it's just been getting ready for Florida and getting ready for everything and doing fuck all. And then, you know, I just sank another $200 in car parts, so that'll be fun. Yeah, it's fucking. This is the life I lead. Anyway, thanks again to Andrew Aydin for coming on the show.
Yes.
You know, again, the Bitch Planet triple feature is out today, out in comic book shops and on Comixology, so check that out. Check out last week's interview with Conley Lyons if you want to hear about her short story, The Invisible Woman. Check out the review we posted of the book last week. Spoilers, we like it. We always do. But yeah.
We get good books.
We get good books. Good books. So, yeah, this has been another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
Fried chicken.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, you know, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.